And we are live. Hello, everyone. Let you guys know who's watching today. We've got James on watching, Cindy, Leslie Griffin, and Angelia, founder of Hope for Women magazine. Love couples, yeah. We got Raymond, Francine, yay, Marchetti. Eric Robinson, my buddy from MSU, Hannah, yay, Karen Fox, Alex Kimbrough, yay. So welcome to Hope Goes Live. I'm your host, Kim Betty. The show is brought to you by Hope for Women magazine, and we are so excited today to do something a little bit different. And today's topic, Quarantined, the Couples Edition. Yay! We have the Browns and the Blues. So meet the Browns and the Blues. And you're going to find out that even the initials are similar. So we have Marita and David Brown and Melanie and Derek Blue. Listen to that, you guys. Woo.
So first off, I'm married to this wonderful man that I just truly adore. We have 6 blended children, 5 spouses with them. Our 17-year-old is here at the house. We have 6 grandchildren and 4 grandfur dogs. And our children live all over the world: Japan, Kansas, Texas, New Orleans, and here in Florida. I am uniquely the interior designer and the life coach together. I put it all together to put my professions with divine order, which I coach women all over the world and locally a lot too.
I grew up on a farm in East Texas and basically traveled all around the world, retired here, and basically I've had a chance to start reaching out to people. I have a calling on my life. I understand that. And I really love to share life experiences with people to keep them from falling into some of the traps that a lot of us fall in. I love to talk about finances. I love to talk about starting business. I love to talk about relationships. I love to share a little bit about the outdoor life and, the fact that we need to stay, aware of how to put a seed in the ground and grow it, which also follows our biblical principles, So the things that I've been in, I probably should have been gone a long time ago, but God has a purpose for me. Wow. And because of that, I feel like the rest of my life should be dedicated to helping people and sharing my experiences. So that's basically who I am. I love my wife, my family, and the blues too.
Yeah, so I have been an event planner, wedding and event planner for like the last 15 years. Now I've kind of morphed it into helping women brand and market themselves, helping them hone in on what their brand and purpose is and help them market to the masses. And then I also have I'm a founder of Glam Girls & Co., which is a nonprofit organization for girls ages 13 to 18. And so we help them do everything from any dream that they have for their life, help them birth it out. And through, whether that be through conferences, experiences, programming, the whole 9. So I really have a heart for the creative and woman empowerment, girl empowerment. We've been married for 18 years, celebrated 18 years in March. Wow. And we have 5 kids that we affectionately call our 5 heartbeats, named after his favorite movie, but it just happened to work out. And, so their ages, 3 boys, 2 girls, ages 16 on down to 7. So, and we pastor and all that. So we're busy, but I've been loving him being home.
My name is Derek Blue. I'm the lead pastor of the greatest church on the Activate Church. Have been in ministry for about 20 years. I'm an ordained elder, and we've been in ministry for about 20 years. And outside of that, I'm the CEO of a not-for-profit organization, economic community development organization in Tampa, Florida. We serve hundreds and hundreds of people each year. Also, we have a business incubator that's designed to help small businesses from startup to scalability. So the focus is grabbing people and addressing the whole person. You know, that the spiritual, a person is spiritual, they have physical, economic needs, and that's been our focus. And also, my wife and I, we have a company called Blueprint Ventures that pretty much does the same thing. It helps small businesses and individuals who have a vision. We try to give them a blueprint for that so that it could, be built from foundation to the architecture, business architecture, the whole 9 yards. So, and then I'm a father and a husband, which is my first ministry.
I love that. One of the reasons that I became a Christian life coach, actually, I'm also an executive coach and a life coach. And I say I work with people of all faiths and no faith, but my heart and soul is Christian life coaching. I actually went to Spring Arbor University, studied their Christian counseling program in order to be a life coach. And I say that to say, I read this amazing article about life coaching in the church. And they were saying that not all pastors have time, or the leaders don't always have time to individually give birth to visions of your congregation. And so that's why the life coach is so critical. The Christian life coach is critical in the church. I love how you've created a business for that, because you recognize that,
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's important as a pastor or a leader to know what God has graced you to do. And it's easy to pull on folks like yourself and say, listen, we're the body of Christ. We might have a different name over our door, but it's all about helping people. So I think you have to know your limitations as well.
And before we get to the hope-filled message of these two beautiful couples and happiness and hope, I want to say, first of all, I want to give a shout out to those of us who are single and we are by ourselves or with our family members. We might be single mamas in the home with our kids. Some people are alone. I had spoke to one lady on our show, and she just recently got divorced, and she was in a very narcissistic, unhealthy marriage. And we praised God because she wasn't trapped in quarantine with this man who would have been miserable with. Domestic violence is on the rise right now. So before we get to our happy bubble, I want to just acknowledge that I know that not everybody has this kind of situation. But I also wanted to bring hope and show love. And now on the Keep It Real note, I also had a guest on a couple of weeks ago who said that she wanted to bop her husband upside the head during the quarantine. Okay, so I know it's not always, roses and happiness. So I want us to keep it real. And the way that we're going to keep it real is I'm going to use, I don't know if you guys can see this here, 101 Conversation Starters for Couples by Gary Chapman, the New York Times bestseller of the 5 love languages. And a lot of people practice the 5 love languages. I'm going to probably do a bad job at saying all 5, but the love languages are touch, acts of service, gifts. What else, you guys?
Quality time.
And
quality time and words of affirmation. You got it. Yeah. I'm also doing something that I think you guys will appreciate. As a coach, when I coach couples and teams, I practice something called transformational dialogue. And transformational dialogue, you'll love this as couples, you guys, for you all in the audience too. It's really looking at going from like just the facts and small talk, like when you get up in the morning and you're just saying, how are you? What's going on? Which kids are here or there? Where do we need to go today? What time will you be home? What time is dinner? Like that's just the facts and the small talk. Facts are important though, right? If somebody's got to pick somebody up, or we got to go check on mom, or what time will you be at a PTA, or what time will you be, at the church because we're having a meeting. Like the facts and small talk is important.
Yeah.
However, to have that transformation, that love stirring up, you take it up to different levels. So just the facts, small talk. What am I thinking? What am I feeling? Why am I feeling what I'm feeling? You feel that tingle in you? Yeah. And I bet that when you're home quarantined, you don't always have an opportunity to ask each other, you know, how are you really feeling about what's going on in the world and why? Like, are we taking that time to have those kinds of couples moments? So we're going to unfold that. And maybe even if you all are, maybe you're not at home. So I want to help facilitate that. We're going to get into the first question. And I'm tweaking this a little bit because some of this was more about like September 11 and things like that, but we're going to make it work for COVID-19. So the first question, couples, and we're going to start with the Browns and then go to the Blues. How do you think the world has changed since COVID-19?
Okay, good. I mean, for me, like, we don't look at the news. So we'll tap into it every blue moon, but we don't focus on the conversation of the world. We focus more into prayer, and we ask each other, we ask every day, you know, we talk about what we see when we're out to get our essentials, like people's behavior, how people act, like when we pass them, when we're just trying to pick up a gallon of milk. Or did you see that? Do you see that people are riding with their gloves and their mask inside the car? Yeah. But they have the window down? Like, how crazy. So we'll see things when we're out in the world, and we'll laugh or we'll discuss it. We also have this thing where we know that we're covered by God. So we will wear our mask when we have to wear our mask. We don't wear the mask out of fear.
It doesn't faze me a lot as far as how I react. It does concern me about how others are reacting. And that's because we know that it's having an impact. I personally sometimes enjoy the quietness of not hearing the streets all, rushing at cars and stuff like that. But at the same time, I won't be naive to understand the necessities that people may need right now that can't get because they're not at work or whatever. And with that, I just try to take a look at those things from that perspective, and hoping that people realize that we serve a God who knows and who controls everything. And if we just give him a chance in this moment to settle down, basically reevaluate our lives, wow, and establish a plan and move forward.
I will say, in the beginning, I would be being dishonest if I said that I didn't have a little freak out session myself. You know, this is something that in my life, I've never seen anything like this before, you know, so this for me was, it was something that I had to get used to. I'm already a stay-at-home mom, but I work from home as well. So I was already used to my routine. So being home, I like to say introverted extrovert. Mm-hmm. So I like to be home. I remember the last Sunday that we had in church, I always get up and say about the church welcome. And I just speaking over the people to just let them know that this is, and they didn't know it was airborne at the time, but I said, God has cleansed the air. God has cleansed us. And so, you know, you have to put yourself in a position to where you believe and have the faith to believe that you are covered and your family is covered.
Yeah. So that is a big question, you know, to see, kind of look out and see how things have kind of changed. And what I can say is this: I think what the pandemic, this COVID-19 pandemic, has done is cause us to look back at the house.
Amen.
Sometimes, me included, we can be so busy in the marketplace. We can be so busy into everything else, but I think the pandemic has caused us, and I think everybody else, as we look at it, is to focus on the house, is to focus on the family, and it's
Wow.
and it's caused, and it should be, and from my perspective, causing people to reconnect with children, reconnect with marriage, to address some things, because we understand how fragile life really is.
What is something that you are really thankful for?
Our garden. I just been waiting for that. But it's not only the garden, because I think that's what, it didn't start out that way. David had started planting seeds, and I was kind of like, okay, he's being Farmer Brown. I'm not going to get involved. But it turned out the way that he designed his pots, because in our community, we have a community garden. So we can walk to it and we can share food with people. Okay. Well, there are some people that want to take your food, and I don't eat what they eat or what they plant. So I think he was we're just going to do something at the house. Well, it turns out that his setup was adorable. I'm like, oh my God, this is so cute. Now I got to do the patio. So I'm in the midst of a patio makeover. But in the midst of that, looking at his cuteness of all those little seeds growing, we even have our grand neighbors. There's 3 little kids.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of doors down, I call them grand neighbors, grand furs. I name everything. They planted some sweet peas. Is it sweet peas? And their little faces from 3 to 8 when they see the sweet peas grow. So that warmed my heart. So then I started doing the makeover, and I'm like, I want a real garden. So you have to like till up some dirt, take this hibiscus out. So I'm out there orchestrating, and I woke up one morning, he literally did it. I mean, I was just like in tears, like he hears me. So now we have his little potted area, and then we have a little bit in the ground because we can't do a full garden. And so with my decor and his farmability, it's going to be amazing when you guys see it. We have. What about you?
Well, during the transition, what I found is we have spent more time as a family together, whether it's one meal a day or whatever. Yeah, the little project that we had outside, repainting the patio furniture and purchasing pads and doing a little bit of a planting the seed. It's a comforting thing, and we also had an opportunity to walk together. You know, 3, 4, 5 miles, and just see things. We also have had a chance to listen to our son a little bit more and see his progress, because he seemed to enjoy homeschool and getting his work done. And then I've had a chance to finish up my college work on time. And so it's just a lot of reconnection again. And I don't know why I keep going back to that, like recocking, okay, and starting over. But nevertheless, that's basically something that we have watched movies together. We do prepare food together. And we do go to the store, Home Depot, grocery store, so on and so forth together.
For me, I got my love back for cuisine, like cooking. I cook 3 meals a day. You know, with having 5 kids, cooking 3 meals a day is essential in our home. Growing children, and so I've learned. I just started loving cooking again, baking, and some of my kids. My second oldest son, he's 14. He bakes with me. He loves to bake as well, and so that has, and we'll get up in the mornings and have family prayer. We almost have like a family church service in the morning, and so at the time that we come together, we're able to talk, share, and I think sometimes you're so busy with paying the bills or whatever you're doing in your day to, adult stuff, that you don't get yourself back on the level of your kids and asking them, how are they feeling, even with everything that's going on. It's a huge adjustment for them. They're not in school every day, they're missing their friends, so getting that check-in time and that prayer and just reconnecting as a family.
I think, crisis is the incubator for creativity. It's the breeding ground for innovation. And one of the things that I'm grateful for during this time of quarantine is, as Mel said, being able to really connect with my wife and the children. Really being able to connect with them and to connect, because again, sometimes you can be so busy, leaving the office, practice, come home, and you might have that talk, but as you mentioned, sometimes it's not that deep talk, it's that surface kind of talk. But for me, I'm grateful for the fact, that I can come and connect with my family.
This is not as deep, but what is one item of clothing in my wardrobe that you really like to see me wear? So when you're quarantined, do you wear your pajamas all the time? Are you cute? Like, what do you like to see me wear? Marita, what about you? What do you like to see David wear?
There's this shirt. When we went to Paris, there's this gray t-shirt. It's V-neck. And it was the shirt that we wore when we went on the trip, on our mission trip with our church. And it has like a little flame. But it fits him and his muscles on his arm. And oh my God. So I love, when he puts it on, I'm just like,
There you go.
See, I have like 3 of those shirts, but the first one came to mind is the gray one.
All right, what about you, David? What do you like?
I think that, to be honest with you, I really like the yellow that she has on right now. I think that's really nice all the time. However, if she's working out and stuff like that with me, it's fine. I like to see that also.
Aww.
So you're saying my workout outfit?
Yeah, but I like to see this dress also.
So you love this, but like every day my workout clothes, you like that?
Yeah, that's fine.
It sounds like he wants you to work out in the yellow dress.
I didn't know.
Marita, he wants you to work out in the yellow dress.
Probably, but I didn't know that. That's pretty cool.
They're skinny jeans, but he has like an athletic. Everywhere we go, people think he's a football player. They're like, "Are you a football player? What team you play for?" So he has same Marita, his upper body, his muscles. So when he wears, there's a couple shirts that I have got for him, and he has on the jeans right now. One of the pair of jeans he has on right now. And then when he wears a tux, like we have to go to a lot of, with his job, he's a CEO, so we have to go to a lot of fanfare. So when I see him in a tux, I mean, I might just go look at those pictures today, like later on after this, because we haven't been able to go out like that. But when he is in black tie, it's something about black tie, he looks amazing.
Aww.
And the bald head.
Okay. So I guess during the quarantine, I made a joke. It wasn't a joke, it was serious yesterday. I say this all the time, because we're doing a lot of Zooms and all of that. So you kind of professional up top and then you chilling on the bottom. But one thing that she during this quarantine that she has had on, I don't know, it's like some little yoga pants. And I mean, I'm just being real. I was distracted the whole time. I was like, man, like she was kind of had to say, could you kind of look up? Oh. It's these yoga pants that are brown. I mean, and she was walking in front of me. I just kind of stopped the whole thing and just,
No dialogue, and y'all, we got all hot and bothered from that one. That's so cute that you all find each other so attractive. I think, Melanie, you put on your yoga pants, and then Derek, you put on your tuxedo and just sit around the house. And I think
that's it. That's what's happening next.
All right, here's another one. Complete this sentence. It would make me a better person if I were more like you. In what way?
Probably between he and I, probably stop and think before I just answer. He's so good at that. And sometimes when he does that, I'm like, would you hurry up and give me an answer? And he always tells me, I need to think about what you're asking me. I'm like, no, I want to answer now. So I would say that after 22 years of knowing him, he thinks first and I just give an answer.
I think probably coordinating would probably be a good thing. I do know some things, but I do know that she has an advantage on pulling things together when it comes to, even design, organization, and so on and so forth. So pulling groups together to do things, that portion of that organization structure is what I think I would probably like.
I guess I'll do it first on this one. I would say it would make me a better person. One thing that you have that's that I really is just an attention to like detail, and it's just like kind of making sure everything is what it is. I mean, it shows up in how you dress, and just the little details that you have. I think that I could use that in my life. I could use attention to detail a bit more. I'm a visionary, and I'm a big picture person. I'm like, let's just get it done. And how you compliment me is just that attention to detail. So it's things that I might miss. I was putting together a contract the other day for a customer, and I had missed out on some critical things that she kind of helped me through, and then it made it that much more impactful.
I'll say for him, he kind of already said it. I love, he's very good at putting things together as far as like systems, like tech. I'm terrible at tech, but he can do all the contracts for our business. He does all of the growth planning. Like he's really good at visionary stuff, like seeing where you are now and coming up with the plan for 5 years down the road. He's done it for our church and several other businesses, churches, and companies. So that's what I love about him. He's a visionary. He can take an idea and stretch it and grow it to, and then implement systems to make it work.
We got, it says if you inherited, but I'm gonna say if for some reason we got a stimulus check for $200,000. So if you got a stimulus check for $200,000, what would you do with the money? The Browns, come up with it together. What would you guys do with the money, you think? Collaborate real quick.
Well, we've talked about, probably the entire marriage of therapeutic type land. Like we would buy a bunch of land, like a lot of acres, and then we would put our home way in the back, and we would put the front with a lot of animals, gardens, and put like a facility that you could have retreats for different types of people to come in. Like it could be for doctors, pastors, and it would be like an event retreat center where people could get therapeutic things that they need for their lives, with my coaching, my design, his animals, the farming. We would eat off the land. You remember that dream? Yeah. That's what I just wanted to make sure we were in agreement. I think that would be. You want to add anything, David?
Yes, because I would invest portion of it. Okay, and being in the circumstance situation that we are, I would be able to continue to do exactly what was needed, but just with a good down payment. So and it's got to be back into contributing to helping people. That's what that $200 would do for us.
Oh.
200. Yeah, the $200,000. Yeah, it would allow us to feedback into the community, into the world as far as that's concerned.
We heard him, Marita. We heard Mr. Brown. All right, beautiful. What about the Blues? What are you going to do with your $200,000?
I think we kind of deliberated. I think, one is to look at any debt that's there and go ahead and take care of that debt.
Pay off our house.
Yeah, pay off the house, set some money for the kids.
A legacy, to leave a legacy. Yeah.
And I don't know, buy a bunch of Snickers and storm away.
What about you guys? What are you going to do if we had $200,000? It doesn't have to be stimulus. Maybe the Lord would just bless us all with a couple $100,000 for our trouble. Double portion, double for our trouble. Have Lanisha Huggins responded that she would pay off her and her husband's debt and get a big project that they've been wanting to do started. So thank you, Lanisha, for participating there. And you're getting some amens on David and Derek's comments. We got Hannah Perry saying she would give most of it to people who have lost their businesses. So she would support them with the 200K. Given what's going on and some of the tragic stories that you may have heard in the last couple months with COVID-19, what has made you particularly sad?
What has made me cry, like literally tear up, was when the students, my son's best friends are all seniors. They're all older. And I was just perusing through Facebook and this video comes up, and each student out of the student government, which I love, are most of the kids that I raised with my son from 3rd grade, they were all saying how strong they were that during this time, you know, and I was just like, because they knew they couldn't have a graduation. Like, I'm getting emotional. So I have 2 goddaughters that are seniors, one in Texas, one here, right around the corner. I bawled for like an hour because I remember high school. I remember doing all this work just to walk across that stage. Like, that was the only thing I mean, at 17, 18, that's what you look forward to. So I knew, even though they were doing this video and they were talking about be strong, Lake Nona, they were being adults, and I could tell that they on the inside did the video because they were asked. I know there were moments with the ones that I know and love wanted to burst out. So I felt like I was really shedding tears for them because I don't cry, but I found myself really emotional about the youth.
There's a lot of people who, despite the rules of the pandemic, have found themselves being rebellious against the government orders. Now, understand, I understand that we're people of faith, but at the same time, we are required also in the Bible to follow the rules of, you know, our government in that respect. And so I found that, you know, quite detrimental because everyone in the church faith level isn't at the same level. Not only that, the tragic that we would allow ourselves to allow people to come together unprepared to deal with the pandemic and to continue to do service. So that kind of bothered me a little bit, even though, like I said, I totally trust in God. But still, I think those pastors who passed away because of, I wonder sometimes what was going on with their lives if they did not recognize the importance of either following the rule or just trying to help their congregation understand the importance of the pandemic and the situation that it's causing. So with that, I think that was pretty impacting to me. You know, that was carelessness. Let me put it straightforward. It's a little bit careless. The carelessness that people right now do in light of this is really impacting me greatly. You know.
I would say all the children that have passed from it. You know, like in the beginning, they were saying children are not affected, but showing some of the stories and images of the younger ones that this took, babies it took. You know, so any loss of life is devastating. And then we also lost. We work with the Tampa Bay Black Heritage Festival here in Tampa.
That's right.
And we are on one of the board members for the business forum that we work with. I do the marketing for it, and he is actually on the panel. He passed away, and we don't know if it's COVID related, but because of COVID, he still doesn't have a funeral. You know, and it was devastating. We worked hand in hand with him. So, you know, anytime you hear someone close to, you know, pass in life, it's
yeah, definitely. And I would say I'm kind of with you, David. One of the things that is kind of disturbing to me is, and again, and I give a disclaimer. I'm in no way, we are in no way trying to attack those in the body of Christ who, you know, we don't agree with what they're doing. This is not an attack, but it does grieve me whenever I feel as though people are putting profits over people. The church has become a business, and obviously you have to be entrepreneurial. You have to be able to have an administrative gift to be able to operate, because it requires funding. But sometimes what grieved me is when people twist the scriptures to fit an agenda and don't rightly divide the word of God, and they put people in danger because they fell in love with the excitement and the emotionalism that often exists in the church, and they put it before actually serving people in wisdom, because the Bible, wisdom is the principal thing. We're to operate in wisdom, and that's the thing that kind of disturbed me. You have people losing their lives, the church kind of taking blows from the media. When I say the church, the overall church taking blows from the media, and from, in my opinion, people who are not necessarily led of the Spirit.
One last question that is perfect for Hope Goes Live. Regardless of what's going on in the world, I will always have hope, ...
I will always have hope that people will eventually, because it's all in timing, turn to God for what they need. Period. Through prayer, meditation, I'm always hopeful for that.
And we always have to have a plan. I think too frequently we have spent too much time haphazardly living, okay? And I think we lose our focus of what our purpose are, and the results is we come to this point and we are desperate, okay, at that point. So basically, I think my ... would be that, always have a plan.
It's a new normal now. And so whatever we did in the past, whatever we did that wasn't right, we change our ways, we shift. There's a shifting that's taken place. There's a cleansing that has taken place.
So what I would say is, and if I'm answering it correctly, but my hope through all of this is that God has got us. That God has got us. This has really taken me back to one. It's taken me back to one, and that's just, that God has got us. What shall separate us from the love of God? Nothing. Not coronavirus, not economic collapse. And if we were to lose it all today, God has still got us. If everything were to go away, that's my hope. That's my expectation. I have a blessed hope that one day, when this is all over, we're going to see him.
Anything else that just sparked you or that you're going to remember from today? Let's go backwards. Let's start with the Blues and then go to the Browns.
I think that, for me is, I think that I'm going to continue. Oh, here's what I say. I'm going to continue to pursue my wife, to pursue. So sometimes when you pull out all the tricks and the stops to get them, and sometimes because of whatever, you stop the pursuit. I'm gonna, I'm gonna continue to chase after her and to, to still spit that game at her that got her. And from that standpoint, I think I'm gonna continue to do that.
Similar, I'm going to continue to study him. I always say that, study your spouse, because study what they like and how they are, their mannerisms, and when they're upset, and when they need a little break from you, and just continue to feed him really good, take care of our home, be that wife that he's desiring, he wants. I think we should know what each other wants and do everything in our power to do those things, and continue to love each other, and having time to be with each other.
Well, relationships is always a continual growth. It's a continual thing if you allow it. I thought about today how God has given us 2 ears and 1 mouth. So we definitely need to pay more attention and listen. However, with that and the love, I would like to continue to just give her the space that she needs to continue to grow in the area that she was ordained, or that that she's the path that she's supposed to be working for God. And I think that's probably the bigger thing in support, because we all, as husband and wives, have different purposes, and God puts us together to work those purposes, but we have to also understand that they are independent, and we do have to support what they're doing.
I am this relationship, and you probably start smiling. From this day and a couple of days ago, I love to serve him. I love serving him, like totally, in different ways. It could be financially, it could be a gift. We have this thing where we try to outdo each other with gifts. Right now, I would say and think I'm about to win. It's just according to, I'm specific, so I'll say I want Tiffany's. He's not specific. So I got something up my sleeve right now for him, and I tell him sometimes, like, yeah, it's my turn. So we have this love thing that we share, but from today, like this moment, serving Mr. Brown, I call him Farmer Brown, Mr. Brown. His sincere name, I'm gonna go live, is Big Daddy. That's the name I gave him when, I can't tell y'all what date and time, but it was a long, long, long time ago. Yeah. So, and that name still carries here at the home intimately between us. I adore him. I love this man. I tell him all the time, probably every day, I adore you, I love you. But it's in a very, very serving way. I love to serve him.
I learned a lot about love today and seeing it, and you give me hope. And I believe that you give us singles hope and other couples hope. And so until we meet again, today we're going to say bye from Hope Goes Live, brought to you by Hope for Women magazine. Thank you both, the Browns and the Blues.
Bye.